Today I want to talk about why you need to stop doing free work completely. Like the homie hookup, the discount, all that stuff. You need to cut it off starting today. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. Let's just jump into it. So today I want to talk about doing free work for your video, your photography business, for your creative business of any type. And I want to ask the question, does it hurt your business or does it hurt you? And I want to say that I feel like the answer to both of those questions are yes. So welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan Moore. I'm a photographer and filmmaker. And I like to make videos like this for other photographers or filmmakers, or those of you out there with a creative business who are looking on ways to make more money, scale your business, and just build a nice little community where we can learn and grow together. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, make sure that you give this video a like, leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought of today's video. So let's talk about free work and should you do it. Now, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite because I made a previous video on my channel, which I'll leave a link for in the description below. But I talked about essentially starting your photography business, how to get clients in the door. And one of the ways that I listed was doing free work. Now, there's two parts to this. One, do I believe that you should do free work? Absolutely. I also believe that you should be doing free work if you're just getting started. So now let's just say you're at the point where you're past that point of just getting started. Maybe you're a little bit more established and you still come across these jobs where people want you to work for free. And here's the thing about doing free work for people. Those jobs, those people always turn out to be the biggest pain in the ass, because from what I've learned, people who always want something for nothing just want more and more and more and more. So today I'm going to bring up 2 points on why I feel that you should not be doing free work. So one is money. Obviously, you're not getting any because you're doing it for free. And then two is the perception that it builds around you or your business or even your services and products. So let's just jump into the first topic, which is money. So every time you do free work, obviously you're losing money, right? Because you're putting out money to go and do the shoot, whether it's gas, it's tolls, it's maybe some food to eat for the day, right? You're losing money because you could either A, be working on a project that could be making you money, or B, you're putting up your own money to go and shoot this project or do whatever it is, right? Now, here's the trap that you don't want to get caught into when it comes to free work. A lot of times when you're doing free work, it's like you're doing it really more so for exposure. And if somebody knows this, they'll try to leverage that on you. So I call it what you do, like when you're doing something, I call it on the strength, right? So for example, it's like, let's say you meet a company or somebody and they're like, yo man, if you can do this for me and you can hook this up for me, then, I know this person or that person, or I can give you this hookup or that hookup or whatever the case may be. Now, at the time, it might sound like a pretty good idea. You're like, okay, you know what? I can see that. Or maybe it's a brand new company and you're like, you know what? I like what they're doing. I feel like they have potential to grow. I'll give them, something like, I'll give them a nice little hookup now and then we can grow together. But now here's the reality of that situation. Oftentimes when people say that, they usually, from my experience, they don't deliver on their promises. Now, every once in a while, you will get lucky and somebody will deliver on the actual promise that they made. But for the most part, you know what? It usually doesn't happen. And what I've noticed too is that, those type of particular clients that you feel like either A, you could grow with, or they're going to give you a hookup or a referral to somebody later, usually they're very self-absorbed. So they're really just all about themselves. So once they get whatever it is that they need from you, right, they're just like, oh, like kind of whatever, that's it. Sometimes I will say though that you do meet some good people out there and they'll hook you up. They'll, put you in contact with really good people that can really help you out. But a lot of times, man, when you're doing stuff for free or for very low or very discounted, you're dealing with a particular type of clientele, and that clientele is usually what I've noticed to be very selfish. Also, if you're not getting paid, dude, you can't go like buy stuff, right? You can't go buy more equipment. You can't, pay a bill, right? You can't do all that stuff off of promises, right? So like if somebody's like, yo, I can hook you up with this or that, or we can eventually do more or grow together in the future, it's like, that's great, but like I'm hungry today, if you dig what I'm saying. So my second point is perception. Now, let me tell you, first of all, these are all things that I fell victim to. A, doing free work for people that I shouldn't have had done, or doing discounted work that I shouldn't have had done, where I actually end up losing money on the job because I took the job because I'm like, oh man, you know what? Like I'm not getting as much as I want, but I could use the money. So I take the job and then like you really end up like losing money or just breaking even. So I'm just gonna let you know right now that I have been a victim of this. I've done this to myself before. It's just all part of the learning curve. But I'm not saying this like I just know every single thing. This is just, my personal experience. Which brings me to perception. So this is something that I've been actually looking at, observing, and studying a bit more lately. And whenever you're doing free work or you're doing work at a discounted rate and you know that you probably shouldn't be doing it either for free or at a discounted rate, well, then you get this perception around you or your company and your services. And this is actually kind of the sad part, but you know what? It's true. So I'm gonna just have to break it down. So the perception is that when you're doing something for free or you're doing it at a discounted rate, the perception is that it's not worth as much. Now, regardless, maybe every once in a while you'll have somebody, you do something for them and they really appreciate it and they really get it and they understand it. But for the most part, for the average client that you're working with, this is not the case. So for example, if a client comes to you and they want you to do a project, whether it's a photo shoot or they want you to do a film for them, whatever the case may be, and let's just say that the project should be quoted at around $1,000 just to keep it even, right? So let's say you really should be getting $1,000 for this shoot, right? But instead, you're like, all right, you know what? Like, I'm gonna hook you up, dude. Like, I'm gonna do it for $100, right? Well, A, there's gonna be something that happens, right? Either one, A, the quality of the work is gonna suffer, or B, the speed of delivery is gonna suffer because you don't have the resources that you need to get the help to make a quality project. Also, what can happen inside of this whole thing is that like you can just start to resent this whole project, right? Here's the thing. A lot of times if you're doing something for free and it's something that you don't want to do particularly, that's the next topic that I'm gonna touch on. But if you don't wanna do it, like particularly, like you don't have a passion or you're like, oh, I just love this so much, I would do it for free, right? What ends up happening is oftentimes you just like start resenting the project and you're like, in all honesty, you're like, man, fuck this, dude. Like, I don't want to do this bullshit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even getting paid well. Like, I'm not getting paid at all, dude. And then like the person who's usually like the client of yours, they're like awfully like demanding all the time, right? They're like, did you get it? Did you do it? Can you redo this, that, the third? And you're like, come on, man. Like, you didn't pay for shit, dude. Like, or I gave you a deep discount. Like, so that could end up happening. So something's gonna suffer along the way, either the quality of the work or the speed of the delivery. So this is the advice that I would give. So like I said earlier in a previous video, I did mention that I do believe that you should do free work every once in a while, but I do believe that should be at a certain stage or a certain phase or for a particular project. So here's a few examples. Example number one is if you're just getting started. So maybe, you gotta, you've been doing it on the side, or maybe you're just launching or whatever the case may be. But whenever you're just getting started, is a little bit more room to do those free projects, right? But the thing is from there, you want to start to implement and raise your prices quickly. So when it comes to perception, the thing is this: if you give somebody a discount, and let's say you do something for $100 and it really should have been $1,000, well then what's going to happen in turn is that when it comes time to actually charge them $1,000, right? Because like at this point you probably earned it, you deserved it, right? They're not gonna look at you that way. They're gonna go out to somebody else who would have charged them $3,000 and try to get them to do it for $1,000. And this is the sad reality. And unfortunately, I gotta say, like, this has happened to me. And not only has it happened to me, but it's happened to people that even I've done work with. So that's kind of like that whole subconscious thing right there. So whenever you're discounting prices and you're discounting your services, you know, you just lower the perception, right? It's like a perceived value, right? It's like if I, you know, gave you 2 pairs of sneakers and they both were the exact same sneaker, you know, maybe one was just like, you know, they were the exact same sneaker, let's just put it that way. One was $25 and one was $200. The average person would think that the one at $200 was more valuable, even though they are the exact same sneaker, they cost the same amount of money to make. For some reason, it's just like ingrained in us, I guess, that you just have this perceived value, and when something has a higher price tag, it's just to, you know, it's perceived to be more valuable. And so when you lower your price tag, you're dropping that perception of your value. So here's what I would suggest if you're gonna be doing some free work. Number one, if you're doing free work, you should be at the beginning stages, or maybe it's like a super special project, or it's gonna be something that you can make money off of in the future. And so yes, you can do free work and actually get paid for it. And that's gonna be another video that I'm gonna make following up on this one, and that's gonna touch on stock photography. So just getting started, you should be doing something for free, but then from there, you should quickly start to try to, you know, go for those premium prices and incrementally go up in price. Now, I know you probably hear that all the time. If you ever looked up a video where you're trying to figure out, you know, how to charge or what prices you should charge, usually it's like, it's always like very general. It's never like specific, like you should charge X for X, right? Or X for B, whatever, yo. You know what I'm saying? It's always like, well, you should look around and see what everybody else is charging, and then like kind of like go there and then kind of like scale up. And you know, unfortunately, it's like, yeah, okay, that is like pretty much the general rule of thumb. So you want to just try to move at a pace that's pretty quick, right? So, you know, you do a job for $100, the next time do it for $125, the next time do it for $200, the next time do it for $400. You want to try to scale up those prices quicker. And don't ever feel like you have to drop your price to get a job, because in all honesty, you're probably going to end up hating the job and you're going to resent the job, and then you're not even going to really maintain that, you know, relationship with that client anyway. So it's like you can just wait it out, do something else that you would want to do, and figure out how to, you know, and try to figure out how to get paid from there. So tip number 2 for doing free work is that if you do end up doing any type of a free work that you're putting up the money to do it, it should have some type of commercial value, which means that it can be sold later on down the road on stock photography websites, right? So this is a great way to actually start to build up digital assets within your company, and it can actually open up another revenue stream that you might have not initially thought of when you got into the photography or the filmmaking game. And my third tip for doing free work, if you end up doing it at all, it should be some type of a passion project. It should be something that you're really interested in, something that you love to do, something that you would do for free, you know, right? Essentially, right? You would do for free. You wouldn't even care if you got paid. It's just something that you like. Maybe it's, you know, fashion. Maybe it's, you know, I don't know, birds, you know, I don't know what you like to take pictures of, nature, people, portraits, whatever the case may be. It should just be something that you're really, you know, you're really interested in, because that's going to keep you going. You don't care about the money at that point. And then also you can figure out ways where you can maybe even take that work that you created and make a profit off of it later. And if not, you don't care, but it's something that you really enjoy, because once you start doing free work or discounted work, deeply discounted work for projects that you don't enjoy, you're going to start to resent the project, you're going to resent the client, and it is going to bring down your confidence just a little bit of a notch. And each time that you undercharge, it's going to knock your confidence down, all right? Because A, it's going to be the perception of yourself, and then B, the flip side is going to be the perception that other people take. You know, you don't want to be the cheap person. I mean, unless you can do like massive volumes of work, right? Like Walmart, you can be cheap because Walmart sells like millions of like Hanes underwear, right? So they can be cheap. But if you're doing just a couple of projects a year, a couple of projects a month, you really want to make sure that they're well worth it, and that the time that you're going to invest into it is worth it as well, because you could spend that time doing other type of work like commercial work or stock photography work that could make you money. You see what I'm saying? So you have one thing that you're doing you got two things you're doing essentially for free, or you're putting up the money in if you're losing money, right? and one of them has the ability to make you money in the future after you already did the work, and the other is more than likely just going to be like a relationship that fizzles out. All right, so that's it for me today, guys. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If so, please leave me a like and drop a comment below. Let me know if you had any nightmare clients that you had to work with, that you did discounted and or free work for. If you are a freelancer, photographer, filmmaker, I know this has happened to you before. So that's it for me today, guys. And until next time, join me, because I think that my next video is gonna be on stock photography. We can take that ride together. So yeah, give me a like, comment down below, and I'll check you later. Peace.